Bluetooth connected.
I sent a text to our officer friend who told me to call the non-emergency line and he'd be the one to look into it. But I'm scheming bigger. I call up the tow truck driver and tell him that there's at least 15 cars parked illegally, and all are about to receive parking tickets for blocking driveways and cars. I let him know that we're friends with an officer, and he and I scheme a little further, and we get a solid plan. I call our officer friend back and tell him our plan, and I also mention that the party's likely going to be filled with underage drinkers. Now, I hate busting parties, but I make an exception for these little guys, and especially little underage drinking guys and driving. He and I finalized the plan, and here's how it all went down. Officer and 3 of his partners go through the neighborhood citing all of the cars. Meanwhile, our tow truck driver friend has assembled a group of drivers in the nearby grocery store parking lot. My husband and I make an anonymous call about a possible underage party. The tow truck driver started the ends of our streets, grabbing the cars as quickly as possible. A few alarms here and there, but no way they could hear it in the party. When they approach the house, my husband makes an anonymous call about an underage party in the neighborhood. Conveniently, our officer friend just so happens to still be in the neighborhood, so he and his partner go over to the house to check it out. As soon as they knock on the door, the lights go out, the music shuts off, and the house goes quiet. At this moment, the tow truck drivers come in and are now towing the 5 remaining cars from the front of their home. I wish I could see the kids' faces inside, as they're all having a dilemma about what to do. Do they go out and bust themselves for underage drinking and try to stop their cars from being towed? Or do they just sit there and bite the bullet and watch their cars get towed? $250 go down the drain. On Sunday, they had 3 cars returned from being towed, and all 3 parked just shy of the yellow lines. I will call this a win. That's definitely a huge win. That would have been pretty crazy, to see a line of tow truck drivers just towing away 15 cars. Oof. So, a bit of backstory. I had been in my current job for about a year back then. We handled finances for big and small companies alike, and I enjoyed it immensely. Think of us kind of like an economic mercenary group. You need help, you put in a call and get help. It's as simple as that. Anyway, starting there I quickly made friends with 2 other workers. Let's call them Bert and Ernie. Bert had been there for 3 years when the story takes place and was a great employee. Always on time, staying late if needed, and asking anyone if they needed help without prompting when he had time over. I'm stressing about what a great guy he is because he's the victim of the story. Ernie had been there just a few months longer than me and was similarly a great and funny guy, even though he wasn't as punctual. Now, a month or so before the revenge, Bert had landed us an extension with one of our biggest clients, and even got one of their sister companies to sign up. Needless to say that this was a big deal, and everyone from the managers to the vice president was praising him. This, sadly, got a bit to his head. He got cocky. He was still the same helpful guy as always, but he went from, "Hey bro, do you need help?" to, "Dear peasant, allow me, Lord Bert of Economica, to assist thee in thine labors." I'm not exaggerating. Anyway, we needed to take him down a peg, and me and Ernie hatched an idea. You see, I realized that Bert had never met my girlfriend. He knew I had one, and we'd been together for 5 or 6 years, but he'd never seen her face. And so, I set our plan in action. I went to my girlfriend, explained the situation, and told her my plan. Basically, she and her friend, let's call her Abby, would just need to go out drinking that Friday night at a very specific pub. And that Friday, I asked Bert and Ernie after work, "Hey, let's go to a very specific pub to grab a few drinks." Both of them are singles at the time, and drinking was likely something they'd have done anyway. Might as well do it with friends. A few hours later, we're a few drinks in and starting to get tipsy. I get a message from my girlfriend that pigeons have left the nest. A few minutes later, a second text message arrives